At the age when most people are still discovering who they are, Alexander of Macedonia was already preparing to change the world. By the time he died at just 32 years old, he had built one of the largest empires in ancient history, stretching from Greece and Egypt all the way to India. Known to history as Alexander the Great, he was more than a powerful conqueror. He was a brilliant military strategist, an inspiring leader, and a visionary who sought to unite different cultures under one rule. Trained by the philosopher Aristotle and driven by an unshakable ambition, Alexander believed he was destined for greatness, and his actions proved it. His undefeated record in battle, fearless leadership on the front lines, and ability to adapt to new lands and enemies set him apart from all other rulers of his time. Even after his death, the cities he founded, the cultures he blended, and the ideas he spread continued to shape the ancient world for centuries. Alexander's life story is not just one of conquest, but of influence, determination, and a legacy that forever changed the course of history. In 336 BC, the course of history changed forever when King Philip II of Macedon was assassinated. His son Alexander, only 20 years old, suddenly found himself ruler of a powerful but fragile kingdom. Many believed the throne would not last long in the hands of someone so young. Greek city-states revolted, rival nobles plotted, and enemies waited for Macedon to fall apart. Alexander responded with speed and brutality. In 335 BC, he marched south and destroyed the rebellious city of Thebes, sending a clear message to all of Greece. Macedon would not be challenged. Within a year, Alexander had secured his rule, and now he turned his eyes east toward the greatest empire the world had ever known. In 334 BC, Alexander crossed the Hellespont into Asia Minor, beginning one of the most ambitious military campaigns in human history. According to legend, he visited the ruins of Troy and paid tribute to Achilles, seeing himself as the hero reborn. Soon after, he faced the Persian satraps at the Battle of the Granicus River. Though outnumbered and advised to wait, Alexander charged directly into the river under enemy fire. Fighting in the front lines, he narrowly escaped death, but his boldness shattered the Persian forces. It was his first major victory against the Persian Empire, and a sign of what was to come. Over the next year, Alexander moved deeper into Asia Minor, liberating Greek cities and cutting off Persian control along the coast. In 333 BC, he encountered King Darius III of Persia himself at the Battle of Issus. Despite having a much smaller army, Alexander used superior tactics, speed, and discipline. The Persian army collapsed, and Darius fled the battlefield, leaving behind his family and royal treasures. Alexander treated Darius's captured family with respect, strengthening his image not just as a conqueror, but as a king destined to rule Asia. Rather than chasing Darius immediately, Alexander made a strategic decision to secure the eastern Mediterranean. From 332 BC, he marched south, facing fierce resistance at the city of Tyre, which withstood siege for 7 months. Alexander ordered the construction of a massive causeway to reach the island city, an engineering feat that shocked the ancient world. When Tyre finally fell, Alexander continued to Egypt, where he was welcomed as a liberator. There, he was declared pharaoh and founded the city of Alexandria, which would later become one of the greatest centers of knowledge and culture in history. At the Oracle of Siwa, he was even proclaimed the son of Zeus, further blurring the line between man and myth. In 331 BC, Alexander turned back east to confront Darius once and for all. The two armies met at the Battle of Gaugamela, one of the most decisive battles in history. Darius had chosen open ground and assembled a massive force, including war chariots and elephants. Yet Alexander's tactics proved unstoppable. Leading a precise cavalry charge, he broke through the Persian center and once again forced Darius to flee. The Persian Empire effectively collapsed. Alexander entered Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, claiming unimaginable wealth. In 330 BC, Persepolis was burned. Whether as revenge for Persian destruction of Greece or as a symbolic end to the old empire remains debated. Soon after, Darius was murdered by his own men, and Alexander declared himself king of Asia. But conquest did not end with Persia. From 330 to 327 BC, Alexander pushed into the harsh regions of Bactria and Sogdiana, modern Afghanistan and Central Asia. Here he faced guerrilla warfare, constant rebellion, and extreme conditions. To secure control, Alexander adopted Persian customs, married Roxana, a local noblewoman, and began integrating Persian soldiers into his army. This caused tension among his Macedonian troops, who feared Alexander was abandoning their traditions. Yet Alexander believed unity, not division, was the key to ruling a vast empire. In 326 BC, Alexander crossed into India, reaching the edge of the known world. At the Battle of the Hydaspes River, he faced King Porus, whose army included war elephants, terrifying weapons unknown to the Macedonians. Using deception and night maneuvers, Alexander crossed the river during a storm and defeated Porus in one of his hardest-fought battles. Impressed by Porus's bravery, Alexander allowed him to continue ruling as an ally. This moment reflected Alexander's unique leadership, ruthless in war, respectful in victory. However, after years of non-stop campaigning, Alexander's army had reached its limit. At the Hyphasis River, his soldiers refused to march farther east. For the first time, Alexander gave in. Reluctantly, he turned back, leading his men south through the deadly Gedrosian desert, where thousands died from heat, hunger, and exhaustion. The return journey was as brutal as any battlefield, testing Alexander's endurance and resolve. By 324 BC, Alexander was back in Babylon, ruling an empire that stretched from Greece to India, the largest the world had ever seen. He began planning new campaigns, including an invasion of Arabia, and focused on uniting his empire culturally and politically. He held mass weddings between Macedonian officers and Persian women and promoted shared governance. Yet tensions remained, and Alexander himself was worn down by years of war, wounds, and illness. In June 323 BC, at just 32 years old, Alexander the Great died in Babylon, likely from fever, though the exact cause remains a mystery. When asked who should inherit his empire, he reportedly replied, "To the strongest." Without a clear successor, his empire was divided among his generals, known as the Diadochi, and decades of war followed. Though his empire fractured, Alexander's influence did not. Greek culture spread across the ancient world, shaping art, language, warfare, and governance for centuries. Alexander never lost a battle. He led from the front, inspired loyalty, and dared to dream beyond limits. To some, he was a conqueror, to others, a visionary. But to history, he became something more, a standard by which all greatness would be measured. Long after his empire fell, Alexander the Great remained undefeated, not on the battlefield and not in legend. Alexander the Great did not live long enough to see the true weight of what he had created. Yet in just 32 years, he reshaped the world in ways few humans ever have, proving that greatness is not measured by time, but by impact. His empire may have shattered after his death, but his ideas, his ambition, and his legend endured, spreading language, culture, and warfare across continents, inspiring generals, kings, and conquerors for over 2,000 years, from Caesar to Napoleon. Alexander never lost a battle, not because he was invincible, but because he refused to accept limits, leading from the front, daring where others hesitated, and believing that destiny favors those bold enough to seize it. And even today, when his empire is long gone and his cities lie in ruins, his name still commands respect, reminding the world that some men do not simply live in history, they become it.